Monday, 22nd of December 2025, and in this evening's show we relive the fine away victory at Wigan on Saturday, a result which leaves us still in the bottom four, but on goal difference, but incredibly only one win away from 14th as a revival under Ian Evatt continues with a pace. We also look ahead to the festive period with a bunch of winnable games to come, and we also have a special guest on at the start of the show with a fantastic announcement that will be revealed. I'm John Aspinall, and this is the Seaside's podcast match reaction show. Wigan 0, Blackpool 2. Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to Seaside's podcast. Happy days again. 3 wins from 4. Under Evo, the latest of Wigan away win on the past evening are Nick, Tim, and Raggy. It's been too long, my friend. It's been too long. So you're celebrating away at Wigan. So what's the reason for you to come in and speaking to your masses?
All the positivity's returned. The motivation's returned, hasn't it? That's what's happened. I must admit, I've been a bit downbeat, a bit dispirited of late. But no, I can't keep me down for long. We're back.
You can't keep a good man down, can you? As Carl found out.
Or me.
Evening, everybody in the comments. Got quite a few people on. Okay. Family, Leanne, Big Dog, Elbow, Mark, Dave. Loads already. Welcome back, Nick. How you doing? Been on the subs bench for a couple of times. Having windows fitted and your new palace, etc. So
yes.
DIY's done, is it?
Getting the house semi-habitable. Still a lot to do, but yeah, good to be back and always nice to come on the back of a fine win.
Certainly is. Tim Big Dog has just said who on the panel went to the Q&A with Evo and the coaching staff. That Mr. Fielding did there. And Mr. Regazzino, unfortunately, I couldn't make it as I was on a work to do. I'd love to have gone though, but yeah, we'll be covering that shortly after the game. As I said on the intro, we've got a special guest coming on today. I'm just going to welcome Steve Richardson from Tread Tracker, principal sponsor of Blackpool Football Club. Welcome, Steve, to the podcast. Great to have you on, mate.
Thanks, John, and thanks everyone, guys, and thanks everybody that's going to listen to what we're about to announce.
Yeah, John. I don't know if people remember the last podcast. We just towards the end, I think Gricey raised it originally, didn't he? About his grandson wanting to go to Ipswich and the sort of the pricing of getting there, because the actual tickets aren't too bad, and how it would possibly put people off a bit. So obviously we had a little bit of a chat on the pod, sort of relayed it back to some, how we might create some positivity. As we're going to go on to speak about later on, obviously Evo was banging the drum about that on Thursday night, and so I won't dwell on that. We'll come back to that. But Steve approached me, and avid pod watcher, as he'll no doubt tell us in a second, front of shirt sponsor of Blackpool Football Club, and he came up with an initiative which he's going to share with you now, which I think is a tremendous example of how we can hopefully piggyback everything Evatt was saying, and hopefully the relative success in the FA Cup so far this year, and make things and make things as positive and as and give us the best chance we can of winning the game. When is it? 3 weeks on Saturday, whatever. Over to you, Steve.
Oh, thanks for that intro, Tim. Yeah, obviously, I picked up on the comments that Ian Evatt made at the forum last week, and I've been saying for a while. I think I've heard Raggy say it on previous pods that if we unified and we operate as one, and then it gives us the best chance of success. And clearly, there's been a bit of a disconnect recently, and I've taken the opportunity as Tread Tracker to provide free transport to Ipswich for any Blackpool supporter. So what we're saying is, as Tread Tracker is the principal first team shirt sponsor, we will provide free coach travel to Blackpool supporters for the FA Cup game on the 10th of January, Ipswich away. Ian Evatt has brought some positivity back to the club. We can see we're going in the right direction. Simon's trying to do everything right in the right way, in the right manner off the pitch. So as supporters, I think we can play a part in bringing some more of that positivity to the club. And we saw the impact that the crowd and the supporters can have, and we saw that at Wigan. I was fortunate enough to be sat on the halfway line at Wigan on Saturday, and the noise, the continuous support, to the extent that the Wigan supporters around me were saying, well, why aren't our supporters like these guys? Why can't we do what they're doing? They're winning this game because the supporters are behind them. They are a true 12th man. And I came away from that game saying, right, we're going to do something for Ipswich. I appreciate how difficult it is. I understand that finances around Christmas for a lot of people are very, very difficult. Let's be candid and honest. We couldn't have got a more difficult away tie than Ipswich in terms of distance and cost, probably. But I want to make sure that as a club, we have the maximum opportunity to win that game. And we'll only do that if we support the head coach, the club, and get as many fans to Portman Road as possible. So how are we going to do it and what we're going to do? As I've said earlier, it will be free travel to any Blackpool supporter. That will not include match tickets. You'll have to buy your own match tickets. So to book will be quite simple. We're making it really easy. And this will come out on all our socials about 8:30 this evening, certainly. So if you miss any of this, you'll be able to pick it up a little bit later. You'll apply through our inquiries at treadtracker.com. All we'll need from you is your name, your phone number, and the number of coach seats that you required. Also, if you give an indication of what local supporters group you're affiliated to, we'll try and keep those people together on coaches. So irrespective of which one you come from, if you let us know, we'll try and make sure you're with your mates and you can have a beer and all that sort of good stuff and have a laugh on the coach going there and coming back. Okay? You can have 4 tickets. As I said, it'll be match ticket only. We will run as many coaches free of charge as you can fill. Now, that's a big commitment, if you think about what I'm saying. I don't care if it's 1. I don't care if it's 5. I don't care if it's 10. And actually, I don't care if it's 20. Let's get as many people as we can to Portman Road, right? And let's give them the support they deserve. Ian Evatt's crying out for it. I think we've all been impressed by what we've seen up to now. We've seen an upturn in form. Let's get behind them and let's turn a section of Portman Road tangerine and give this team the best opportunity to actually go on and get to the 4th round. This isn't beyond the realms of capability. We are capable of going there and getting a result. So the more we can support them, the greater impetus we can give them, the greater opportunity we've got to proceed. So from our point of view, that's our announcement. Okay. Now, as I said, it'll come out later on our socials. When you apply for a ticket, you'll get a confirmation email back to say you've got your tickets. It'll also give you a reference number. The reference number will be your booking number, effectively, so we'll know who's coming. Okay? So from my point of view, that's the announcement. I don't want to steal your show, guys. It's your show, not mine. But it just remains for me to see. If you've got any questions, just let us know. And you can do that again through our social platforms. And from my perspective and everybody at Tread Tracker, I'd like to take the opportunity to wish you all a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and let's see some future success in 2026. All the best, guys, and thanks for the opportunity.
Tremendous, right, Steve. Thank you.
All right.
And
we'll be on the socials.
Just to elaborate, Steve's going to put an announcement out on his socials at 8:30, and then we've already spoken to all the supporters groups. And also Ashley runs coaches for Polter with a view to making sure that the word spread. But so, for example, if you're an MSG support, affiliate, if we call it that, all you'll do when you contact Steve, you'll say, can you put me on the MSG coach? And they'll put the MSG people together. They'll do the same with BSA. They'll do the same with BST. And if you travel from Polton and want to travel with other people, and it's more about traveling with people, isn't it? And having a good time, as Steve said. We're not, there's no 100% promise, but we're going to try and make sure everybody gets on the right coaches. I know BSA put if anybody's already paid to go on BSA, I'm sure that's going to get sorted out. There's a conversation to be had there with BSA yet because they'd already had a coach booked. But fantastic gesture. I mean, just what we were talking about last week, wasn't it? We were talking about doing something a little bit like we've done at Wigan a few years ago, a little bit about, giving the lads the best chance they can, because it's otherwise, we didn't want to, Steve and I spoke, we didn't want to turn up there with 200, 300 fans, 400 fans maybe at a push. it's hard, and it's a £10 a ticket for an adult, and I think it's a £5 for APs, and I don't know what the kids' price is, but it's a real listen. That gives people a fantastic opportunity to go and support the, Blackpool in the FA Cup. In what they'll probably drop a few. What I like, I've said it on the podcast before, is Evo seems to take competition seriously. Better bloody take this one seriously after we've done this.
My plea is the one I made earlier, Tim, and that's if you say you're going to go, guys, make sure you're going to go. You're going to go, because what we don't want is people say, I'm going to go, and then loads and loads of people dropping out on the day, and we go with half-empty coaches. That makes no sense whatsoever. As I said earlier, we will fill as many coaches as people make a commitment to. And if that's 20, it's 20. I don't care. This is about giving us the best opportunity and maximum support of Portman Road.
Fantastic.
Tremendous.
All right, guys.
Thank you. And he's a podcast watcher, so he won't be leaving us. He'll just be going into the background to watch the rest of the
I'll go and talk to the boss now. I'll say, what the bloody hell have you done?
Hey, Steve, just make sure the coaches don't have bold tyres or anything like that, because that might be a bit of a...
No, that might be a bit of an own goal. It might be a bit of an own goal, that one, John, mightn't it? So,
imagine having a blowout on the motorway for not having enough tread in the track.
Beyond my control. Hey, that's even beyond my control, mate. That's certain things can make happen. I can't have any jurisdiction over any blowouts.
So we'll bring our own 20p's before we go, sticking in the coach tires.
Absolutely. And what I should add instantly is all coaches will leave from Bloomfield Road, but obviously, if we can get, if there's enough interest from Polton, then we'll make sure we get people picked up in Polton.
There's a lot of us round there, isn't there, Nick?
Nick's joined now, of course.
Have you guys got any questions before we go any further that you think I might not have covered off? So we've got it covered off before I leave.
I think so. Yeah. I mean, obviously because of our chats, I can pick up on it. If there's queries come in the chat, I can pick up on them. But
okay, just let us know.
Fantastic.
All right.
Thanks again, Steve.
All the best, guys.
It's an incredible gesture.
Thank you.
Thanks, Steve.
Merry Christmas, and here's to 3 points on Boxing Day and another 3 on whatever day it is against Rotherham.
Merry Christmas to you as well.
Cheers, Steve.
All the best, guys.
Merry
Cheers,
Christmas.
mate. Fantastic. What a positive start to the show, eh? Think back to where we were not very long ago, all down in the dumps, as Raggy said. Looking at our feet, and the wave of positivity that is now coursing through the veins of Blackpool Football Club.
I've seen people betting on us getting promoted this week at 150 to 1. I'm sure Raggy's
I won loads of money on Saturday. I've put a fortune. I'm about 15 grand if we get promoted now.
We were 4-1 to beat Wigan on Saturday. 4-1.
Incredible, isn't it? I actually had us on Blackpool win and both teams to score. So I was a bit disappointed when I don't want to jump when their goal was disallowed. But apart from that, not complaining too much. I'll take a win over a win on a bet anytime.
Tom's just put that comment, assuming the coach travels from Blackpool and local area, none from other areas for exiles. I don't know. Maybe there could be pickups on route. I'm sure that could be.
I think if somebody could get themselves onto the M6 at a suitable point, there may listen. It's come out of the blue, not quite completely today, but most of it today. So it's embryonic stages. That's why obviously I know Ashley had mentioned about listen, there's quite a few. I think it was about 60 or 70 travel from Polton on Saturday. Including the best of FY 3/4, depending on whether he's in his businesses or in his home.
You mean the MSG's top boy? You mean
the MSG's top boy?
For the lows,
Grimmy will be watching this now, fuming.
They should put Raggy and Grimmy on the BSA coach for a laugh by mistake.
Stewards.
But in all seriousness, so that's why we're not under. If there's enough people identify they want to go from Polton, then one will start 20 minutes early from Polton and go meet the rest of them in Blackpool. So
I mean, you look how much it costs a tenner for an adult. So you could go to Ipswich away, bring your own food and drink for a very small cost, couldn't you? For a tenner, bring your own ale, bring your own food, tenner away for Ipswich away. Fantastic. Right. So I'm sure all details will be released on the socials after this. Oh, Jesus. What was that?
That was me pinging. That's Steve. Exiles need to contact us, he's just said. So it was.
Right.
It
There
was
you go.
so relevant, and we'll look at it. So I think maybe we put Nick Johnson Tom in charge of his. I'm going to his dad then. Tom in charge of collating the exiles, and we can maybe look at doing something.
Right, there you go, Tom. Job for you there, mate. Right, let's get on with the show. Wigan away. This was the starting 11. Switch that around. Okay, from back to front, Peacock, Fowler, net, back three, Husband, Horsfall, Carey, left to right, Coulson, Brown, Honeyman, Imre, Bowler in the 10, and Bloxham and Fletcher up front. Nick, let's come to you first on this. You went on the coach from Bolton, I believe.
I did, yes.
Was this released on the coach en route?
It was indeed, yes. No massive surprises, really, I think. Pretty
No
happy
Evans?
with it.
No Evans dropped to the bench?
Yeah, well, I think if Brown and Honeyman are available, then you would expect it will be those two. I think Evans will probably only feature if one of those two aren't available for whatever reason. Obviously, no, Ihekwe, I think he's got a slight injury, hasn't he? So other than that, yeah, we were talking maybe would Ashworth feature possibly. Obviously went with Coulson as wing back and Imre on the other side. He's always going to start. Bowler in the 10 role and Fletcher and Bloxham up front. Obviously Taylor's, as we'll come to talk about, is back, but perhaps not ready for a start yet, or also for 90 minutes, so to speak. So overall, it was pretty much, I think, as we thought it would be.
Raggy, very strong bench. Ashworth, Taylor, Lyons, Morgan, Hamilton, Evans, Banks, but no goalkeeper. Evo trying that trick again. Where you worried?
Yeah, which when the goalkeeper went down, feigning injury for a little water break, we feel. But I'm not so much bothered about that on the bench. There'll be someone in the team that can come in if we need it. And I was quite happy with that team. It's probably the best we could have picked, barring I'd have Ashworth on. I like Ashworth. I'd have him anywhere in Coulson's position.
Tim, that's a sentiment I agreed with at the time. I was just a bit not unhappy about Coulson there, but I thought there was better options there. Even I wouldn't be against seeing Scott Banks playing on the left side of midfield. He is left-footed as well. So
I think well, just on that left-hand side, I was a little surprised that Hubby played, to be honest, because he looked a bit rusty, I thought, rather than now. To be fair, I was watching it remotely, so rather than actually at the game. So that might be a little bit harsh, but I was a little bit surprised that he was in. But obviously, you've got to get him back. I think when we, that back three is when we get everybody fit and up to speed. That is our best three at the back. And then you've got the jury out thing about Coulson. I actually quite like him further forward, but I hear the arguments for Banks. The counter argument was given by Evo on Thursday, and we'll perhaps come to that a little bit later. But I hear what you say, John, and I also agree with Raggy. I think of the available personnel, I would prefer Ashworth.
Well, that was
in the left at the moment in that left wing back role.
Yeah, that decision was taken for Blackpool on 9 minutes. Coulson was off injured pretty early in the game. I was kind of glad because it forced his hand and brought Ashworth on. I was happy with Ashworth or Banks. We had a bit of a scuffed shot, Nick, early on from Bowler. I think it's kind of one of our only attempts on goal, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. There wasn't a lot to talk about in the first half in terms of opportunities. And I mean, I felt a bit sorry for Coulson. Nobody gets injured on purpose, do they? But he does seem I don't know, someone used the phrase like a breadstick. When he goes into tackles, he does just seem to pick up knocks relatively easily. So a bit of a shame for him, but obviously it's an opportunity for Ashworth. And like we've said, I don't think anybody minds him coming in. He's found his chances limited at times, but he's I think he rarely lets us down. So maybe I'm not sure how serious Coulson's injury is, but it's there's games are coming thick and fast now over this period, aren't they? So it's a chance for Ashworth.
Chance for Ashworth, took it. There was a massive chance for Wigan on 15 minutes, Tim. A former Blackpool mushroom player, Will Amerson. What a miss. What a miss.
I mean, it's one of those ones where it almost looks harder to put it over than hit the target, doesn't it? And I think if it was one of our lads, I think, to be honest, I think Horsfall did something not quite as blatant, but a little bit similar. Was it against Lincoln? I think it might have been the Lincoln game. And but you really, if you're Wigan fans, you're thinking, Jesus Christ, because it was interesting, and again, it's going to be something we'll probably talk about a bit later. But about it was a very packed penalty area, wasn't it? And I think Horsfall had gone down in the melee, and then somebody, whoever it was at the back post, can't remember which particular player it was, headed it back, and he literally had a free header, in front, 6 yards out. And all he had, I think if he hits the target, he scores, doesn't he? I don't think Peacock Farrell was going to save it. So it was an incredible. I don't think Will Amerson scored for Wigan, has he, so far? So probably explains why he got a nosebleed at the thought that he might do. So, but yeah, it was one of those where I think that was probably the best, by far and away, the best chance in the first half, and the most clear cut one. So we got away with one there, I think.
Nick, in the build up to that, I don't know if you noticed, it was that, what's his name? Callum Wright put the cross in for them. Yeah. I really knew it was him kind of at half time. It's like, is that the Callum Wright that we used to have? They were unlucky in the build up to that, and George Honeyman was on the ball just to clear a chance they had to get a shot away. And that was a good piece of work from Honeyman, and he was a lot more on the ball today, I thought.
On Saturday, Saturday, he was. I think it was a bit of a feature, though, in that first half of, particularly Brown gave the ball away a couple of times. Bowler, we didn't really retain the ball for very long, or certainly not long enough to build any patterns of play. And I thought Wigan, for the home side, almost played a bit more like the away team, where they were kind of happy to sit, let us have possession, but there wasn't really very much space. We didn't get people on the ball. Bloxham never really got into the game. Bowler didn't. And a lot of their chances, obviously that one for Amerson was, like Tim said, it was a golden opportunity and he should have scored. But other than that, a lot of theirs were kind of sort of from range shots, weren't they? Which mainly went sailing over the bar or, high, wide and mighty sort of thing. So it just contributed to a bit of a poor first half, really. We didn't, I think there was the shot from Bowler and Hubby had a bit of a one that kind of swept away past goal, didn't it? Towards I can't remember when it was, but maybe just towards half time. Other than that, it was a pretty poor first half. I think, with the general consensus was at half time it was poor, and hopefully
and freezing
improve, and cold, yeah. That things will improve in the second half.
Raggy, as you mentioned before about the potential substitution of BPF. A lot of people around me were saying it's a tactical thing that keepers do now to sort of regroup, and Blackpool were under the cosh a bit, weren't they? So,
it wasn't me that thought about that. It might have even been Nick or Tim who stood close together. Someone mentioned it, and I thought, yeah, it does look like that, because as soon as he was on his feet and moving, there was no problem at all, was there? So
it was me, yeah, because I looked at the bench and I saw straight away Evatt was getting him in, and you kind of looked at Peacock Farrell, and he had a couple of stretches, and then he was holding his hamstring a bit, and there didn't seem to be much concern from the bench. I know there's no sub keeper to warm up, but they were just busy doing a bit of a huddle round and pointing and stuff and looking at notes and what have you, and I just thought, yeah, it's a bit of in-game management. It just seems to be a thing. I don't know that's happening. I don't know, the last season or so. Where
turning into American football, these little breaks.
Yeah.
Well, no, you're right. And there was no concern. Once you said it, looked over at Evatt. He wasn't concerned. Nobody was. And yet, previous to that, one of the games, was it Carlisle? I sat in the west near the dugouts, and when Imbre went down injured, he was stood with his hands on his head, Evatt. So it was concerning that one. He didn't have that reaction on Saturday. So I think we're all right. It
Has
seems
anyone-
strange. It seems
Well-
strange not to have a goalkeeper when you've got 7 subs, but how often does it happen? And we know it's going to happen, don't we? It's going to happen one time. It's bound to. But
Who's our sub keeper?
Oh, yeah, I was about to say this, Tim. Has anyone read
Right.
Mitch's blog?
Block-
He
blocks
said
him. blocks them, I bet.
he's a unit, isn't he? He'd fill
Well,
the goal.
he can do backflips as well, can't he? So he's quite agile. So I bet he is quite a nimble character.
Can he?
With a scorpion, you can do a scorpion then,
Yeah.
can he?
Oh,
Well, he
like
can do,
Rene
well, was it
Higuita.
back, he did it at Exeter when he first came here, didn't he? He scored and then went doing
Lamanu Luar.
somersaulting off down the side for a 6'5" bloke. That's impressive.
I like what Mitch put us like on this plan. Then who is it who's going to be in there? Has he got his own shirt? Has he got his own gloves? All things like that. You'd think Evo, with his meticulous approach to the game, would have that sort of thing in plan. But who would go in though? Because it always seems to be Jimmy Husband, doesn't it? He's
They must
apparently
know.
the standing
Yeah.
keeper.
There'll be someone who's good on the training ground, won't there? There'll be someone who's always messing around in net. There'll be one of them that's pretty good. There
Still
must be.
risky,
or he wouldn't-
though. It's still
It's
risky
still-
when you got 7 though, isn't
Well,
it?
it depends how good your sub goalkeeper is, whether it's risky or not.
Great point.
Wasn't it?
Yeah,
True,
yeah,
there's
yeah.
that point.
Maggie has answered that question. Well, yeah, as Nick said, first half, not a lot happened really. Jimmy fizzed one in towards the sort of back end of the half, but good run from Imre down the right, who was dangerous all afternoon. But
Well, with no
apart from that-
creativity, there
No.
was no creativity. There was no one in midfield that could create anything. Bowler wasn't having a particularly good or influential game, and I'm pretty sure he'll be pretty good in that position long term. But if he's not running through that middle and doing things, there's Brown and Honeyman aren't really going to be doing a lot of that from them positions they were in the first half. There just didn't seem to be a lot of creativity. I'm not into tactical awareness or anything, but Imre was very quiet as opposed to how he was in the other games. So whether they'd done a number on him, I don't know. Maybe they were particularly marking him out of the game, and that was stopping that that attack down that right hand side.
Yeah, I mean, enough said about the first half. The bet. Let's have a very quick look at the stats up there. Because I know Raggy didn't like it, but I know you don't like XG, but this is an XG horror show. Look at that. 0.04. One shot on chart target, big chances 0, big chances missed. More passes though, but that's straight from the Steve Bruce statistical handbook, isn't it?
Yeah, it's well, you do. I just watched it, the highlights back before, and other than Hubby's shot that gets pulled to the right towards the end, we literally, and Bowler's shot at the beginning, we had literally, I don't think, had a shot on target or off target. So I can quite see how that type of statistic finds its way up the board there.
I mean, from was it a tactical masterclass from Ian Evatt just to contain in the first half, and then obviously was a tactical masterclass, and then unleash Taylor and Fletcher? But could have been a different game
don't think
had
he
Amos
intended
headed that in. What,
He
Tim?
can't possibly have intended to go out to play like that. I just think the only thing I said at Art, I watched the first half with Gricey, and it was slim pickings. But we both said at the end, look, hopefully that's our shit half, and we've got the decent half to come, because that tends to be the pattern, doesn't it? At the moment, we have probably one half that's demonstrably better than the other, and so it proved to be. The Grice is going to have to get a new nickname, because he's far too positive these days. I think all this weight he's been losing, he's turning into a sort of happy chappy. So he was the same on Saturday. No, there's no moaning and groaning at half time from Gricey.
Blimey.
He was as positive as the next man.
I was moaning and groaning at half time because Wigan did a Blackpool. What are Wigan famous for, and what have I had a gripe about on here recently?
Well, did they have no pies and no hot dogs when I got there?
No hot food, full stop. I queued up for bloody ages. I wasn't drinking either after a heavy night the night before. They did a Blackpool. Bowler's was the one shot Dave Coleman said in the first half. It's been a bit of a pattern of Bowler, hasn't it? He gets himself into good positions, but he keeps to scuff his shots a lot this season.
It was early on in the game, wasn't it? And he turned it. To be fair, I think he had two men on his back, and he turned them and got away from them. So he'd done that almost the hard work and created the opportunity for himself. But it was then. Listen, he got a bit of power behind him, but it was pretty much straight at the keeper, wasn't it? So the keeper, it was a sort of belts and braces save from the keeper. There was never any chance he was going to score. But you're having a shot. It's on target. It's early on in the game. I think that was a positive. There was nothing from anybody to follow up until Hubby has his shot later on, which presumably is the other shot that we've had. I can't think of any others. It was literally the only two.
We'll put that to bed then and move swiftly on to the second half, because thankfully a lot more happened, because it was quite a dreary first half, to say the least. I've put in my notes the two key things from the game were Bowler for Morgan on 57 and Bloxham for Taylor on 58. I think it was Mark in the comments mentioned something about Bloxham. Where was it? Can't remember.
Being a striker.
Yeah.
Well, there goes to preview your XG's a load of nonsense, doesn't it? There you go.
Wouldn't say it's nonsense, Raggy.
Well, it says we were due to score 0.9 goals. No, 0.9.
It's not an exact science.
It's a nonsense. It's a nonsense.
I think it's difficult for Bloxham, isn't it? Because I think he and his dad, when he spoke to people, are at pains to say he's not as forward. He's a right winger. But I think the club see more in a more central role because of his size and physical presence, where he can, perhaps be a little bit more of a battering ram up front than if he's out on the wing. So it's one of them, and also it's been needs must, hasn't it? So he's effectively taken one for the team and played out of position, but equally, it's got him fit. Maybe we'll get his opportunities, but he's up against Imre and he's also up against Banks. So that makes it, I think, quite difficult for him to nail down a right wing berth.
And he's up against Dale Taylor coming back for a striker's role, and Ennis to come as well. So
I think it'll be interesting when Ennis does come back and is fit, what we actually end up doing with Bloxham, because we've seen flashes, but it's out in that wide position rather than him being up front. And I don't know who was at the fans forum, Evatt had mentioned about they were looking to maybe convert him to a striker, but for a big lad, he doesn't. I don't see him as a battering ram. He doesn't win the ball in the air. He's good with the ball at his feet at times, but I don't see him as a target man. So if he's not going to get that out wide position, and I think being a striker, a lot of it is it's instinct, isn't it? You saw it with Taylor, as we'll come on to talk about with his finish. I don't necessarily know it's something you can just teach him. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with him when everyone's, if everyone's fully fit.
Okay, let's move on to the goal then. First, let's get that up. Goal Fletcher, 59 minutes. Let's just talk about it, Tim. A great ball from Honeyman, who broke the play up, then he slotted Taylor in across Fletcher, and it was all a poacher's finish, I thought, from...
Yeah, I mean, you talk about Taylor's cross first of all, don't you? Because talk about an instant impact. I think it would have been on the pitch. Was it 2 minutes or something? Maybe 3. And straight away, I think we saw. We generally think we saw Honeyman sort of blossom a bit in the second half. All of a sudden, he seemed to be involved in things that were going on and being far more creative. But the cross was very good. The finish was exceptional, I thought. That's a proper striker's goal. And I think Gricey put something up in the chat, didn't he, before we went on with, Fletcher's the third most successful striker in the league this season, behind Haaland and the guy from Swindon. What's it called? I can't remember what he's called now, the Swindon guy. Drinnan. who scored 17 goals. Now, Swindon, if they're not top, can't remember, I haven't looked for the League Two table this week, but if they're not top, they're very close to the top. City are second in the league, and Blackpool going into Saturday were second bottom of our division. And yet Fletcher's up there with the most prolific strikers and goal providers that there is in the whole night.
Who'd have thought this a year ago?
I mean, that is just awesome. I mean, and it just show a little bit, you know, and again, keep going back to Thursday, but it's the positivity that sometimes can be created. I heard an anecdote, and I don't know whether it's true. In fact, I think Gricey seems to be the in the know man with Fletcher, and he said that Evo had him in and basically told him he's the main man. And maybe that's what he needed to hear, because he was always yanked off the pitch, or, you know, the first sub under Bruce, and Evatt clearly thinks he's somebody who we can build the attacking part of our team around. And so far, it looks like he is, doesn't he? You know, because you wouldn't swap him at the moment for pretty much anybody. Maybe Haaland. I might swap him for Haaland, but I don't think I'll be swapping him for many others. Most certainly at League One or League Two level. So every credit to him. So what a finish! Going back to the game, what a finish! That is a proper strikers / poachers goal, and I loved it. As did the 2,000 plus behind that goal. It's great when you score a goal behind the goal you're attacking, isn't it? And you're away from home and you're in an end that makes a little bit of noise. We had our Dutch friends over. Didn't see them, but I heard them. And I think they were involved in the group that were doing all the chants during the second half for all our ex-players, which is a bit of good fun. And but fantastic. You know, the atmosphere just changed from that point. It was incredible. And,
but in between the
goals, I've watched it back. It looks better every time you watch it back. The goal, I think, it's a proper finish.
Yeah, the second one is actually even better than the first one. But Nick, there was a bit of a scare for Blackpool in between these two goals. BPF swatting one away. That could have changed the game again had that gone in.
Yeah, it's a bit of a funny save, wasn't it? It was like instinctive, and he kind of just. I don't know if he like you say, swatted it or punched it away. It just kind of came at him quite quickly, but he dealt with it, and I thought he had a decent game overall. It was obviously important. He makes that save, and then I don't know if it was when it was from.
It was Amerson. It was Amerson again, by the way. So
was it?
Yeah.
And it keeps us at 1-0, and then we go on and score. I think, like you say, the second goal was arguably better than the first. I saw it described on one social media channel as liquid football.
Alan Partridge.
Yeah, it was. I mean, sweet. It was Hubby, wasn't it? With
all one touch. Touch.
Yeah. So the ball out from Hubby. Great. Volleyed pass first time from Imre. And again, great ball from Fletch, wasn't it, to set up Taylor again, and
Honeyman to Fletch.
Honeyman to Fletch, sorry, yeah. And
Fletch's little drag back into the path of Taylor.
I mean, what I thought with going back to the subs, and it's great now, isn't it? Where you look at the bench earlier in the season, you look at the bench and think, God, I hope nobody gets injured, because there's nothing on that bench to influence the game. You're looking at the bench now and going, there's clear options, and as we saw on Saturday. The influence those players can have. What it meant for me was, I noticed, was Honeyman. We just got further up the pitch. That was the problem in the first half. We just weren't getting people driving up the pitch, and those subs allowed Honeyman to do that. Great from him. Gets his head up, puts the cross in, and what a touch from Fletch, and again from Taylor as well. Probably
it wasn't an easy chance either.
It wasn't. No, it was kind of to get it out from under his feet. You know, he's running in at a bit of pace, and it's a contender for goal of the season, I think, so far for us, probably.
I mean, Raggy, look at the difference in quality now. That goal, if you remember that goal against was it Barrow at home in the FA Cup, a sort of a sweeping move for our fourth. It's actually night and day. The difference in performances and just attacking play under.
Yeah, they've got without a doubt, and look, and it can't be denied that players coming back from injuries strengthening our squad all the time. So, we might have been a bit picky early in the season, but the injuries did make a big impact. But Ian Evatt's he's a good manager. We've got the right guy in. We went to that forum the other night, and just seeing him, Craney, Stephen Dobby, and Steve Banks sat there, the four at the front. They're Blackpool people, aren't they? These are Blackpool legends in my eyes, and they've got it right. And he speaks a lot of sense, Evatt. Like I say, I'm not into tactical things, but he was discussing some of the things that go on in football matches. He particularly mentioned something at Rotherham that I found interesting, was like that they had the lowest possession in the Football League, so their game plan that night was give them the ball and we'll nick it off them and go up the pitch. And, so we don't know what tactics are taking place in these games, but he's certainly got the players to buy into it. When we score a goal, like on Saturday, both goals, all the players are there celebrating. They're definitely building a good team morale and camaraderie in that team. And it shows. And look what happens when it starts to happen. The fans start, and as we know, we're the best out there once it starts like that. And the repertoire of songs and everything. And I'll just mention that there was a great one of the Charlie Patino song ringing out, taken from the Wigan end. I sent it to his dad. He sent it to Charlie. Charlie sent us a message saying, "Great, brilliant, loves it." They've actually sent me a message just earlier. "Can you get us 2 tickets for the North Stand on Saturday?" He said, I could contact the club and maybe get an hospitality, but Charlie wants to come in the North Stand.
Brilliant.
So our Charlie will be in the North Stand with us on not Saturday, on Friday, on Boxing Day. Yeah.
You lose track of days, don't you, around Christmas?
Yeah. So that'll be great. So
fantastic.
It was absolute limbs in the away end when that second went in as well. Don't know what it was like for you lot.
Yeah, wonderful.
I fell over backwards. People grabbing random strangers. It was just like the good old days, wasn't it? And there's a feeling, I think, amongst Fanglers that we're kind of back.
Well, it was that good a day that I was still in Polton at 10 o'clock at night with Ashley Knowles and Andy Higgins in the old town hall. Never left there. I was out of my comfort zone. But
they've got some good artwork, all Blackpool artwork in there.
Of course they have. I like that. But to be honest, I was watching a lot of football matches. I kept winning money, which Nick won me £100 as well, which was great. And a bit of inside information on Everton.
Yeah, I wish I'd followed my own advice and put a bet on. I got home and thought, I told Raggy to back Arsenal because of Everton's midfield being all out. I thought, I didn't put the bloody bet on myself.
Great. So, but what a great day. What a great day it was. Proper away day. And I didn't think I was going to enjoy it on the way there. I thought, we're going because we must go. But I really enjoyed the whole thing in the end. Obviously, makes a difference when you win, but it makes a difference with the atmosphere. And it was just good. Just a good day.
Tim, it's good that we've actually won in front of a large away following. When was the last time that happened?
Yeah, no, I think if we'd had 4,000 there, I think we'd have lost. But I think maybe 2 is just about right. And also back-to-back wins as well. After Rotherham away as well, so 2 away wins. And again, me and Raggy both doing this, jumping forward to Thursday night, and I'd said something about why the atmosphere had been a bit flat, and I actually said, look, if we win on Saturday and then we go into these 2 games over the Christmas period, we're never at home over Christmas. We've been away for donkey's years, and we've got 2 great opportunities, hopefully with slightly bigger crowds, to really show you, because I don't think we've really shown Evatt, other than when he's come as a Bolton manager, what the atmosphere is really like at Blackpool, because it's been a bit tame, hasn't it? I think really probably since the first couple of games of the season. And I use the expression that we've had our balloon pops, because we were all expecting so much, and then, we were let down basically. We were let down by the tactics, and we were let down, cards on the table, by the players and by the manager. Now, Evo's not going to say that, but he's got the players fit. He's got them chomping at the bit again, and I think it's about time we need to turn the tap back on. We need to turn the tap of positivity back on. And it started for me on Saturday. I thought that was a Steve mentioned it from the halfway line, what an incredible atmosphere it was to listen to. and you listen, you watch back and you can hear it all and see the limbs as you talk about it. We haven't had that much, have we, over the last couple of seasons? I'm struggling to remember the last away game. I think Polton Foul Seaside has been to about 10 games without seeing us win. You know, the games they've picked, we've lost pretty much every one of them. So it's been slim pickings, isn't it? And it was fantastic. Unfortunately, I couldn't stay out till 10 o'clock because I was on grandad duties. But every credit to Raggy for realising, you know, where the centre of our coast is in FYC.
It was more making sure all the OAPs got home safely. To be fair.
I mean, it's the. I go with Eddie and my mate and his son to play in the same team together. We go to quite a few away games. That's the first away game we've seen where we've won in nearly two and a half years since Coventry away. Do you remember when we beat them on that balmy October evening? And that's the first away game we've seen them win. So there's a lot of records being busted by Evo at the moment, isn't it? It's the terrible record against Rotherham. That's in the bin. First, it was 2 away wins in a row, first time since last March. Terrible Christmas period. That's one ticked off already, and you're looking ahead to Port Vale and Donny, 2 teams that are really, really struggling, and you've got to be looking at 6 points for those 2 games.
Rotherham.
Yeah, we're playing them at home, aren't we?
Yeah.
So we've got Doncaster, Port Vale, and Rotherham to come.
Doncaster, Rotherham, then Port Vale.
Yeah, all winnable games.
Yeah.
Well, we know
always takes me back to 1996 for those of a certain vintage when we had the 3 teams out of the bottom 4 in the last 3 home games. We only had to win one of them to get promoted, and we didn't beat any of them. Yeah. But it is a fantastic opportunity, isn't it? It's a fantastic opportunity to really get ourselves. You know, you mentioned before, John, we're only 1 win off 14th at the moment, and you know that the middle of that division is so incredibly close that if you do go on a bit of a run, and you know, if we're talking, you know, if you won those 3 games, that was an extra 9 points, and I think you'd be pushing into the top half, and then you go into January, got Port, you know, and the games we've got lined up in January, and then maybe a little bit of recruitment, maybe Ennis back. I don't quite know whether we'll make the Christmas fixtures, but I wouldn't surprise. It wouldn't surprise me if we saw him before the end of the Christmas fixtures on the bench, and all of a sudden, you know, and with that fantastic gesture in the second week in January to look forward to. There's also all of a sudden there's a lot of positivity. There's a lot of positivity. But listen, it might be misplaced, but you know, it's good to feel that way, isn't it? And I think that's the way a lot of people are feeling at the moment. Hence, people sending me screenshots of 150 to 1 to get promoted with 25 quid on or whatever it is. So, and booking Hilton rooms at Wembley and all that nonsense. But it's good that people, you know, it might be a bit of a joke. It might be a little bit too optimistic, but it's a hell of a lot better than being down in the dumps and negative about the way your team's playing. And that's the way we've been for 3 or 4 months. So long may it continue.
There's not wrong with it either. That was, I mean, there was a few. It was quite funny on Saturday. Started singing E-I-E-I-O. I mean, when does the team second? When does the team second bottom of the division start singing that? But it's
that
great,
made me laugh. That made me laugh.
You might as well sing it. You might as well. If it goes wrong, it goes wrong. If it comes off, it sounds great. We always knew.
It's the Blackpool way, though, isn't it? We never do it the easy way. We always do it. We always do it the hard way.
The memorable way.
One thing I noticed, I don't know if anyone else picked up on it, was the partnership between Fletcher and Dale Taylor. It seems to me they've got a bit of an understanding already. Like Fletcher pointing straight away at Taylor for the goal. And I think those 2 could be a real threat this season.
Yeah, well, I think, you know, if you look at Taylor, you know, it hadn't really happened for him, had it? He'd had that long injury. But you look at, again, we were talking on the coach on the way about, you know, the strikers under Steve Bruce were just feeding off scraps. You know, look at how Ennis picked his injury up at Bradford, jumping for another long ball, hoofed up to him. None of our strikers are those type of players where they want a 60-yard ball dropping out the sky to them. give them decent service, and look what can happen. We've always said with Fletch, he's very, technically good with the ball at his feet. And you look at what Taylor did for Wigan last season in a setup not too dissimilar to what he's going to play under Ian Evatt, and he hit, was it double figures and highest number of assists as well, I think. So there's a player in there, and I think, like you said, it's early days, but there's certainly on Saturday afternoon was that the start of an understanding between the two. The movement was great, and talking before about with blocks, has he got that striker's instinct? You can see in Taylor that he has, in the right place, making the right runs, and Fletch is an intelligent player, and he'll see that, and they'll feed off each other. So, yeah, long may it continue.
Happy days. Wigan did have the ball in the back of the net on 75 minutes, 10 minutes after we'd scored. They were not piling on pressure, but they were turning up the pressure valve slightly. Good to see that ruled out for offside. Thoughts on it?
Was it?
I didn't see. I didn't think it. I didn't think it was offside, but can't see the proper angle. But I don't know.
Has anyone seen the replay?
If you look at the 6-yard box, the lad who puts it in seems to be exactly parallel. I think it's with Hubby on the other side of the 6-yard box. So I think it's another one that we, a little bit like the first half, Amundsen over the crossbar. I think it's one we got away with, but sometimes it's. I think I spoke about this when we played Rotherham as well, didn't we? Where we win 3-0 and it looks convincing, but they hit the post twice. And we might have been a bit fortunate with the one where CJ fell over and then managed to get up again. But we're starting to be a bit lucky, aren't we? And maybe it's about time. Maybe that luck evens itself out over the season. We haven't had the rub of the green before, and maybe you create your own luck. Whichever way you look at it, I think on another day they'd have scored one of two of those, and and looking at the XG, we didn't have loads of chances, but we scored two exquisite goals, and they didn't get one which they could have got, and should have had another one on top of that as well. So, but I see it as a positive. I see that's a sign of a team that is winning games, that they get the rub of the green. And
what was their XG?
A lot better than ours.
Nearly 2, I think. So
not more nonsense then. I knew what it was. I was just
whole match stats 2.32. So they should have scored 2 and a bit goals to our 1. You think of the number of chances they had, they couldn't hit a barn door. That Mullin, whatever his name was, John Mullin. Paul Mullin, sorry. Is he the one who scored for Wrexham against us last season?
He was Wrexham's top scorer during
thought it was him.
Like 5 seasons on the trot.
He scored an absolute worldie, didn't he? Away at Wrexham, similar time of the year last year.
Yeah.
He blazed loads over. Absolute.
Right. He had probably the pick of the chances for them in the second half, I think, and did what we've been whinging about our players doing for quite a time, isn't it? Which is, don't put your laces through the ball, lean back and ballooned it over the bar after he'd actually created a bit of space for himself. But yeah, we've got strikers who know where the back of the net is at the moment, which is not something we've said a great deal recently, but loving it.
Dave Coleman, when we don't play our best and win and I'm away from home, that's a sign of a good team where you're not pulling up any trees, but you're still winning the game. And what pleased me, Nick, is we were absolutely clinical in that game, and that's something we've been far from under Steve Bruce.
Yeah, like I said, two really well taken goals, great finishes. I think Ryan Lowe described it as a smash and grab. I'm not sure that's fair. I think for me, a smash and grab is literally where you kind of look at each other going, have we done that? Like you say, Wigan have had chances, but I never really felt, oh my God, we're getting battered here.
Just the bicycles, that, by the way, just to show that there's some Christmas decorations knocking around.
A lot of their shots were way wide, way over the bar, and we were clinical. And I think it was a pretty even first half, and we had the 2 quality moments in the second half. So I don't think it was a smash and grab. I think he's probably trying to save his job there. Yeah, and I thought we deserved it overall.
Ryan Lowe's special chant.
Brilliant, that was.
Yeah, I've watched his post-match. Absolute whinger, as usual. He was saying their offside goal came in off Fletcher as well. He was calling it an own goal. So I don't know what he's on about. 6 minutes went up at the end. Was anyone worried that we were going to throw it away?
Always worried. Tim
Whenever-
wanted a goal. Tim wanted a goal for Wigan to win some money, and he's going, "Can they score now?" No.
You shithouse, Tim, were you?
95 and a half minutes, he said, maybe now.
What about now, Raggy? Can we have it now?
All right, 95 and a half, maybe, yeah.
Well, actually, I did say, if we get a third, they can have it. So I just wanted them. Yeah, they just had to be both teams to score for 13-2 returns. So anyway, it wasn't to be. Should have cashed out at half time when it was. I'd have got about 60 quid back on my tenner.
Oh, well, doesn't need the money, does he, Raggy?
No, it's loaded. That's Polton for you, though, isn't it?
You're moving there now, aren't you, Rags?
No, I can't afford to live there.
You set up a third bar. Should expand your empire.
I might move to Grange Park, a little bit closer to Polton.
Near the new training ground, won't you?
Yeah.
Man of the match, then. Who do we think? Got to be Super Ashley Fletcher, hasn't it?
I was just going to
Boom,
say,
boom,
really,
boom.
Yeah, I'd say
I think scoring one and setting one up, I think he has to take it. I think Honeyman had a good second half, to be fair. I think he might have been in kid, but he didn't have a great first half. So I think when a striker does that and it's a 2-0 away win, you can't ask any more out of them, can you? So and I think they're not. It's a great ball for Taylor and a fantastic finish. So they're not easy chances necessarily either.
Any other thoughts, Nick?
Yeah, I'd probably agree with Tim. I think there was quite a few who had a poor first half and a better second half. Defensively we've kept a clean sheet, but I think particularly in the midfield, first half we didn't really get to grips with it. And you score one and assist one, then I think that's man of the match for me.
Okay, player ratings. Let's get the graphic up. Press that button. Get rid of that. Okay, let's start with you, Tim. You can have Peacock Farrell. Didn't have a right lot to do, even though he faced a hell of a lot of shots at him. A lot blazed over, but he's done the job when asked to, just to flicking that one away.
Yeah, I think it's a 7+ for me. I think he's looking far more accomplished these days. I've got far more faith in him than I'd had, let's say, in August, September time. So I think he's in, whether he's improved or whether it was just that he was having a bad run, which sometimes players do. I don't know which it was, but he now looks the commanding presence in the goal that physically he always should have been, shouldn't he? But he looked like rabbit in the headlights a little bit at the earliest part of the season, and that seems to have gone now. Now, whether that's Evo instilling confidence in him, like he's done in Fletcher, or whether it's just that he was having a bit of a poor time, and I don't know. But I'm quite happy with him at the moment. Got to say, 7+.
Well, we were clamouring for a new keeper not that long ago, were we? We were saying we need to go shopping for a new keeper. Obviously, we need one for Ravizzoli, but not for Peacock Farrell. Firmly nailed his close that number one mast. It was quite interesting. One thing I heard in the fans forum when someone was asking about the goalkeepers, the packing the box for corners, not leaving anyone up front. Was it Evo or Craney? Was it Craney said we don't really want Peacock Farrell coming off his line for corners. They just want the defenders to deal with it, and that's what having that extra man overload in the box does. Yeah, it's quite interesting. Right, Nick, left to right, you can have Hubby. Great crossfield ball for our first, and is just an assured presence for me at the back and an extra mark for the shithousery, which he does bring in spades.
Well, yeah, he always gets involved, doesn't he? And then he looks at like butter wouldn't melt when a minute earlier he knows exactly what he's been doing. I did chuckle at that.
It reminded me of that moment at Fleetwood when he got Nangele sent off. Do you remember he was laughing at the away end when the red card was brandished while he was on the floor after being body slammed? He was going toe to toe with their player, weren't he? He's a bit of a master of let's call it in-game management, shall we? I thought he had a decent game. You know, it's a clean sheet. He's put that ball over. You know, been involved in the goal. I'd give him a 7+, same as Peacock Farrell. Raggy Fraser Horsefall, the new Blackpool rock of our defence.
Yeah, he didn't appear to be. He's the player now that I thought we were signing. That's what I'd say. I thought we were signing a big centre half who's going to be a leader on the pitch, and I think he is. And he's looking at, and a lot of our play seems to go through him from the back as well now. So yeah, and great. If you've got a big geezer like that at the back, he's going to put confidence in people. A good game. So at 8 because I think he's important to that team. And it's clean sheet.
Yeah.
So.
Ollie Casey, Tim, on the right side of the defence in place of Heckway. Did he do a better job?
Yes, in the short is the short answer. Listen, he's in the best back three that we have. You know, he would always be in it for me. Bit concerning, he limped off towards the end. I must admit, I've not heard anything
He's
since.
okay. It was cramp because he'd only had one full day training.
Right.
So
okay.
it should be fine.
What worried me a little bit was, of course, that he'd missed the game, and with a slight groin strain, and I was a bit concerned that it was a repetition of it. So that's great to hear, because the last thing we want is him out over Christmas. 8.
Hayden Coulson, Nick, obviously we can't do him. He's off after 9 minutes. So Zach Ashworth replaced him, and very able replacement on that left-hand side.
Yeah, again, he's pretty solid, isn't he? Thought he had a decent game overall. I will give him a 7.
Jordan Brown, Raggy, just kept things ticking over in midfield.
Well, yeah, he didn't really in the first half, though. He didn't have a very good first half at all. But got better as everyone else did. So, but I think 6. It wasn't a good. He didn't have a good first half, and I particularly noticed him not challenging as hard as he can and does, and losing the ball and misplacing passes. So, 6.
Everyone agrees. Brown 6 at best. Dave Coleman Bison 6-. I was so bored in that first half. I really can't remember who played well and who didn't. So I tip my hat to anyone who can. Tim, George Honeyman, a more improved performance, particularly in the second half. So what was his overall?
Yeah, it was a bit of chalk and cheese, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
I think you could levy the same issues at George for the first half, but his second half, I thought, arguably over that half, he was one of our best, if not in the. I think he's in the top 2. So I think he's on a 9. I think he's on a 9 for the second half and a 6 for the first half. So, and I'm going to be kind and upgrade it using my discretion that I've got to an 8.
And your own player rating system.
I was going to go with a player rating system, and I thought, no, it's actually because of his involvement in the goals. I think he deserves an 8.
Yeah, it's 2. He had 2 soft assists, didn't he?
He did. He did.
Not like soft hospitality.
Yeah, it's like when you've got an influence in a goal, but not like a direct assist. You know,
Right, yeah.
You made the pass to the player who made the assist. So we've invented a new term as well this evening.
And what's that? A soft assist.
A soft assist. Yeah.
Second,
2 soft assists for George Honeyman gets him 8+ on the fielding play rating system.
Oh, an 8.
Oh, an 8. Sorry, okay.
It would have been a 7+, but I decided to upgrade it.
Nick, Danny Imre also had a soft assist on our second goal. So what's your overall score?
But it was a very, very good soft assist to control the ball like that, the way he did. You know, and he's always an outlet for us, and he's what you want in the system that we play. You know, the modern day game as a as a flying wing back. Again, first half, not as much, but certainly in the second half, I thought he had a decent game. He's always a threat, isn't he? I'll give him a 7+.
Okay, Raggy, Josh Bowler playing in the cam, the attacking midfield role. I know a lot of people are saying he's doing well in there, but he's not nailed it down for me. He ain't nailing that position down.
He has done well in there, and he I think he will do very well in there. He didn't have a very good game on Saturday. Not an effective game anyway, as effective as he can be. But I look at him like when he used to play on the wing, he used to run, and he's not slow, but he's not the fastest, is he? He used to cut them two defenders in half, didn't he? Ball through the middle of them and off it, and that's how he got himself a yard of pace away from him. He's just got to figure that out going through the middle because he's nowhere to cut in anymore. He's got to run in straight lines and try and find these little angles. So I think when he does it though, he'll be great because he's great on the ball, and he can score. He does scuff shots, so he needs to have a bit of practice on that, I think. But I just 6 again because he wasn't influential in what he was doing. So.
I think this position is perfect for Dale Taylor, Tim. That position, the cam, ahead of the two midfielders. I think he'll be devastating in there.
Yeah.
Personally.
Well. Apparently he played in that was his preferred position, isn't it? I think at Wigan did he end up playing slightly out of position. So let's see. We've got options, haven't we? And you start looking, as these players come back, where we've been putting out a scratch side every week, or you get Ennis in there, and you've got a real conundrum up front, and players are going to be fighting for the shirt, aren't they? That right hand side looks very strong. Maybe we look at Banks on the left. Bloxham's going to have to up his game in reality, isn't he? So it's good. Hopefully we don't get anybody else going out in the way that we've had this tragic. It wasn't just that we lost players. Every team loses players, don't they? But it's the fact that we seem to lose every single player who made a difference. And that was the. We lost Morgan, we lost Imre, we lost Horse. We didn't lose Horse for too long. He just didn't get played. We lost Husband for the first half of the season. We've had Ennis out, we've had Taylor out. I mean that's beyond unlucky, and Honeyman. That's
and
beyond.
Banks was injured for a bit as well.
Yeah, so it's not just listen. We everybody whinges, don't they, about it? But that is just ridiculous. How many injuries we have?
And Bowler.
Yeah.
Bowler, yeah. Sorry, I didn't even mention Bowler. It's mental.
These things happens for a reason, don't they? And hopefully that's been a catalyst to get rid of Steve Bruce. I thank God he's in the bin now. Thank God he's in the bin. Okay, Tom Bloxham, Tim.
Yeah, not a great game, did he? Unfortunately, and I really want him to. I thought I spoke quite positively about his contribution at Rotherham, but he's doing a job, but he didn't. We saw the difference when he went off, didn't we? We improved. So I think it's a 6+.
The Wigan pad had him marked as a serious danger man. It wasn't the case, Nick. But Ashley Fletcher also was a player they derided on their pod, calling him an absolute donkey. Should be on the beach with the other Blackpool donkeys. Super Ashley Fletcher certainly made them eat their words and stuff pies in their mouths, if any were available in the stadium, which there wasn't.
Yeah, there's no better way to silence your critics, is there? And I bet those Wigan fans were looking at it thinking, God, I wish you'd done that for us. And obviously Taylor was involved as well, another ex-Wigan player. So, he had a very good game. And as your striker, you can't ask for more than what they've done in what he's done in scoring a goal and also getting an assist. So, my man of the match, and I will give him, what have they got him there at 8.6? Let's round it up to a 9.
Yeah.
Perfect time.
Complete with
Was
sound
Ashley
effects.
Fletcher texting? Yes! Get in!
I think Poultney Fowl Seaside has approved of that. That's Ashley already drumming up support for Steve's initiative.
Ooh, which coach do you go on? Do you go on the Bolton coach or do you go on the MSG coach? Decisions.
You've got to show your postcode to get on the MSG coach.
Well, I was born in FY4, Raggy, so I think I should qualify. You know, like a dual passport.
If you've got a letter with your postcode on, bring it.
Can I bring my work one? Can I bring my a bill from work?
I'll nip round my mum's and get my mum's council tax bill. That's an FY4. Fans forum. Before we go, there was a fans forum during the week for a select few. Let's get rid of that. What I'm doing here. There we go. Fans forum for media personalities like us, fans groups and the like were all invited. Raggy and Tim went. What were your overriding thoughts and feelings, Raggy? A, during the event, and B, afterwards?
Came away from it super positive, to be honest with you. And the questions that were asked, well, people have heard them now. I think they were good questions, and it was right. And Ian Evatt speaks clearly. Clearly knows what he's doing. So clearly got a plan that he wants to stick to. Stephen Craney's impressive. Speaks well, as does Dobby and Steve Banks. And them four names, they're Blackpool players, aren't they? They are Blackpool people. They've played for and been at the club long enough to understand exactly what it's all about. And I think they all get that. I was well impressed with it. And like I say, good questions, good answers. Hot topic on the corner situation, whether people agree or not agree, but we've not conceded from a corner, so who's to say? And then there's other things with the club. There's a couple of questions. I'll always have certain issues with the club in certain standards, like the TV screen that's on the side of the ground broken, which I brought up out of that meeting to Nick Horn, and he told me they would get it down this week. You haven't got it down, Nick. He's still there. Anyway, that's the Blackpool secretary, by the way. And but yeah, overall, listen, positive. Good to see. I'm glad they record it. I'm glad they should be out there. I know they don't like doing this stuff live in case something happens, but everyone should be able to go to these things and see it and hear it. And it's good that they do. But I believe we've got the right team, not just the right man, the right team. And I'd say the one who Craney impressed me as well. I think that guy could be a manager in his own right, the way he talks, the way they talk about the players, the way they talk about the squad. We talked afterwards as well. So in particular, me and Higgy spoke to Stephen Dobby after talking to him about the strikers, blocks him, how they wanted to make him into a striker. About Dale Taylor, funnily enough, because I've always had a dispute with Higgy. He wasn't convinced, and I say, no, he was going to be a good player, this lad. And Stephen Dobby sort of say he's the best striker we've got. He'll make this club a fortune in the future. So they really rate him highly. And they'll take responsibility. Craney said, if we concede a goal, that's my fault. I'm the defensive man. If we don't score, it's Dobby's fault. If there's a goalkeeping problem, it's Steve Banks' fault. It's good. I like the way they call him Gaffer, Ian Evatt, even though they've both played with him and could be a bit pally. I like it. It's just, it was just right. It felt right, looks right. Ian Evatt speaks great. He's got clear tactical knowledge of the game, and I genuinely think that he loves this club and gets it, and gets us and the town and the area. So that's going to go a long way, that, to help him. Well, it is going a long way. They are changing things. You can see it. And hopefully, fingers crossed, because it'd be so good now if we have a good Christmas. It'd be so good. And we will kick on if we do. No doubt about it. So we've got such good positive stuff. What Steve's done tonight with his coaches, that kind of thing, that momentum, getting that going. And then we're unstoppable then, aren't we? Fans and club, when we get momentum as a town, everyone comes out and it starts. And we deserve it. We all deserve it. The club deserves it. It's not through the lack of trying, is it? And people wanting, and we all got downbeat by it. But the club tries, and we maybe have suffered a bit of luck, a couple of wrong managerial decisions and this, that. And I get on the back more than anybody. But let's just have a good Christmas and see what happens. I'm sounding like Lee Charles from the other night now. Just give us a good Christmas so I can have a good video, please.
Tim, I noticed you were front and centre. Yeah, you had a
see
good
my
question.
hair from the back.
Yeah.
No ball patch yet, anyway, which is good. No, I've got to endorse what Raggy said. I think the fact that it was streamed, albeit with the delay, everybody's been able to go and watch it, which is fantastic because it was there wasn't many people in the room, and the focus really was on getting people in. I know obviously I was your substitute, so but it was about getting people in who do this type of stuff we do, so that we can sort of hopefully spread the message and maybe also just sometimes understand when things aren't going too well, why we do certain things. So there was as Raggy touched upon, there was the corner issue, and it was interesting for me then to see how packed that corner was when Amundsen had his shot coming in, and Evo, almost evangelically talk about the statistics behind why he does that. He couldn't wait to answer that question.
0.06% or something.
Yeah, he just said you do not score from leaving a man up at a corner. They don't. And actually, Banksy endorsed it by saying under Bruce, we tried leaving 2 or 3 up. And then what they do is the defence end up taking a chance and standing in front of you, so they win the ball. And then what you actually do is you all end up coming back. So because you have to come back to make sure that you're the other side of the defender, so you can actually have a chance of winning the ball. Before you know it, you're all back where you started. And Evo talks about, well, if I leave a tricky winger up, then they're going to leave the fastest player at the back and match him up, and statistically, a packed box, you're less likely to concede than when there's room in the box, because when they've got room in the box, the players who are good attacking the ball have got more chance of actually getting a header in and getting a shot off or whatever it might be. So it was interesting that there was proper science, football science behind that decision. And it wasn't the only one he came out with. He talked about Banksy, and he talked about him needing to improve his defensive side to sort of he used the word trust him to play the wing back role. So I think he's got, if he wants to be more than an impact sub, clearly Evo needs, and they are doing it. They're working on his defensive side of his game, because I think if they can get that right, then Imre on the right and maybe him on the left will be like,
devastating.
It will be incredible. But he's made it clear he needs to work on the defensive side, and and it was good, and that there wasn't I want to call it deference towards Evo, but there was most certainly an incredible amount of respect from the other three towards him. You looked at the dynamic; he was the boss. But they all seem to be on the same page, which is fantastic. Crane is a lovely guy. I mean, my lad used to work with him at Fleetwood, and he came across afterwards and hunted me out to basically say hello to Sam for me, and that's a nice touch. Ever went round and shook everybody's hand in the room and said thanks for coming. It was very personal. I found it a very personal meeting and quite uplifting, for want of a better word. To hear the manager and to hear what his assistants they all contribute towards the meeting. There was no dumb mute in there. He had nothing to say, and it was good. It was as Raggy said, you left there in a very, very positive mood, and it was so good that they even had the Nater guys from. Unfortunately, James Guy obviously has been on the podcast. I think he couldn't make it the last minute, but we had.
Jeff was on.
Jeff Hemsbury was on. Another guy didn't actually know who he was. I think but he introduced himself as like a new supporter, effectively. So it's fantastic that they could sit in the room and they got to ask questions as well, which was great. Free bar for those of us who like to have a little tipple while we're there. I noticed Raggy didn't quite OD on Raggy Aid and vodka, but he had a good go at it.
Yeah, but in my defence, I was the first one in the room with Grimmy, and I bought the first round, and they charged me, so I had to cost me £20. So I was definitely getting me free.
You're getting your money.
You got to get your money's worth, then, haven't you?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
So listen, as Drew said, we're just going to take the positivity into Boxing Day, I think, and hopefully, as you know. To adopt the Lee Charles mantra, hopefully we're going to have a good Christmas, because we did, in all honesty, and we deserve one, don't we? It's been, I used the word slim pickings earlier on in the pod, and Christmas. I mean, even when we're at home, which is hardly ever, we lost to Accrington, and I think the last time we maybe won a game, it was behind closed doors. So God knows. And then we had the boycott before that. So I don't think we've seen us win on Boxing Day probably for 15 years.
And we're always away, aren't we? We've always seem to be away on
always
Boxing
away.
Day.
But if you look at those before the pre-boycott, post-boycott, we had Accrington on Boxing Day. We lost 2-1 in 2019. Then 2020 was behind closed doors, and we haven't been at home since.
Yeah.
So it's due. It's coming.
Get your money on. Get your money on it, Nick.
Yeah, I'll try and remember that.
Got any Christmas tips, Nick?
Well, you look at these fixtures and they're winnable, aren't they? And we've got great confidence going into them. If you want to give a prediction on points, I'll go 7 from 9.
In fact, let's go through the 3 results: Doncaster, Rotherham, and Port Vale. So we've got Donny on the 26th, Rotherham 29th, Port Vale away 1st of Jan. 2 home games as well. So 3 struggling teams. I'm going to go for 9 points. I'm going to go for the perfect Christmas period. Nick,
I'm joining you, John. Sorry, I've jumped in there. I should have.
So fine. I'll go with 7. I'll try and be slightly level-headed about these things, because you know what it's like. You look at it, don't you? It's like going into that Reading game thinking, right, that's one we can win, and then you're coming out now.
God, yeah. We always get knocked down, don't we, when we get high?
Well, this is it. That's why I'm going 7 instead of the full hit.
So what you thinking? Win Doncaster?
Win the 2 home games.
We've got to beat Port Vale there. Absolute dog shit. They've not even scored in 5 games.
I know, but
they've not even scored.
I'm trying to think if I've seen us win there. That's another place where we've.
I saw us win 6-1 there with Paul Stewart hat-trick.
Remember ages ago, Nick? Me and you went there with Jim. Years ago. It must have been 20 odd years ago.
And there was that horror show. Was it last season or last time we played them away?
So I think 3-0 that.
Yeah, I'll go for a point. I'll go for a point at Vale and two home wins.
Yeah, you're downbeat, 2 downbeat. I'm saying 9 points, but it was more to the if you back to Thursday, I actually asked Ian Evatt the question of did he have points targets over a certain amount of games, and was he prepared to hang his hat on it? And he didn't, because what he said was we go to win every game. So win every game we shall over the Christmas period.
And listen, let's just thank Steve again for that positivity at the beginning of the show. If anyone joined late, go back and watch it. You can just rewind it at the end and watch it. We won't spoil the surprise. But Merry Christmas from Tread Tracker.
Yeah, and also, there's anyone out there, it's for us now to do our bit there. You can't get a more generous offer. The tickets are cheap enough. We need to all do our bit to fill them coaches now as well. Yeah. So we can do it, and the hope is that we do have some real positive results over Christmas, because that will drive it again, won't it? Mm-hmm. So the club need to play their part. We need to play our part as the fans now as well.
I mean, 9 points, and we're right back. The season is officially back on, isn't it? If we get 9 points from these 3 games.
Yeah.
We're due a run. We've got all our best players back. We've got a great manager. We've got great fans.
But if we get 7, if we end up with 7, that's a good return.
Yeah, of course it is, yeah.
But we need to, we just got to win the game on Boxing Day, don't we? And let's keep going.
Take it from there. We'll leave with Bison's shout there. 98 points takes us up as.
See, it must be positive because Nick's not even been tapping his watch on an hour.
I know, yeah.
We've done another nick and a half.
Right, that's the end of the show then. Just like to wish all our listeners and viewers, all of you out there, a very Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. We'll be all coming up between Christmas and New Year, and the season's back on. The positivity is being re-injected, and the only way is up. So thanks, Raggy. Thanks, Tim. Thanks, Nick. And all that remains to be said is thanks for watching, everybody, and up the pool.
Up the pool.
Been involved in 2. Can he make 3? Not on this occasion. Well taken by Walsh. Davis is on the far side. Ainscough coming square. That's the ball. That's a good try.